Step into the world of decay, abandonment, and chaos. The story of an urban explorer starts here, at the beginning. Welcome to the podcast you've been looking for all along. This is No Tracers. Here, we take only photos. We leave only footprints. And remember, leave no trace. Welcome back to No Tracers. What's up? My name is K, just the letter K, and I am known as No Tracers. You can find me on most social media at No Tracers. Instagram is no.tracers, but I'm also on TikTok, and I recently launched a new YouTube channel called No Tracers URBEX. So if you guys want to follow along my journey, you can do so over there on any of those sites. This week on the No Tracers podcast, I'm speaking with an explorer that goes by the name of Moldy Lungs, and I think that's one of the greatest usernames I've ever read. I'm very excited to have him on the show to share some of his crazy stories with you guys, including the time that he got his leg covered in tar while trying to climb on a roof. Some crazy stuff in this episode, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Before we get into the show, just a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, I need to let you know that I have a photography book about urban exploring called No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary. If you guys would like to get a copy of that book or a backpack, a duffel bag for your costumes, if you guys do cosplay or costume stuff in these abandoned places and need a bag, I made some duffel bags, so if you guys want to get one of those, the book, or, a t-shirt, anything to support the show, you can head to justtheletterk.com/no tracers, and you can, help the show out. Be a part of the show in a bigger way than just listening. If you do like the show, please leave a rating and feedback on it. If you do that, I'll send you a signed photo print as a way of saying thank you for listening and supporting the show. And the last thing I need to do is thank our partner on this podcast, Liquid Death Mountain Water. They actually just came out with flavored water. I know we've been waiting for this moment, but the flavored water is finally here. They've got 3 crazy flavors, and they're sending me a couple boxes, a little care package with those 3 flavors, so I'm going to actually taste test those very soon, and I'm very excited for it. If you guys have never heard of Liquid Death Mountain Water, well, don't worry. I've made an ad for you in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to a new kind of experience that is not for the faint of heart. A new kind of water, straight from the Austrian Alps, packaged in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. So if you want to stand out, if you want to murder your thirst and give back to the planet, give Liquid Death a try. The only thing that stands between you and the Reaper is a can of liquid death. Not for the faint of heart. So if you guys want 10% off your order at liquiddeath.com, use code JUSTTheLetterK and you'll get that 10% off. That's what we like. We like discounts. It's all good. All right, without further ado, Moldy Lungs, please introduce yourself to the show and how long you've been exploring to the No Tracers audience.
Hi, my name is Tom, aka Moldy Lungs. I've been exploring for about 10 years now. In 2014 I started, and I've been in the Instagram exploring since 2018, it's been a long ride so far, and
So first of all, how'd you come up with your username? I feel like that's something that I don't ask enough of on this show, and I feel like it's kind of important to start there. So how'd you come up with Moldy Lungs? I love the username. I think it's very clever and it fits what you do. So how'd you come up with that?
Well, I was looking for a different name. I changed it around 2019. My old username was Tommy Gster, and I wanted to change it up and just have some other alias, and just to have this mysterious image, and just not have anyone know who you are, and just be labeled as someone else. So I decided to do Moldy Lungs because I was looking for usernames, and I was like, what sounds a little catchy, but not too crazy. And I was
Hmm.
just like, oh, moldy lungs. So I looked it up, and yeah, so I chose moldy lungs.
Amazing. I love it. And what got you into exploring in the first place? What made you catch this bug?
So what happened was, I live in New Jersey, and there's these magazines that have been published for years and years. They're called Weird New Jersey, and back when I was 18, I started reading these magazines, and then I got my car in high school, and then me and my friends would just read the magazines and see, oh, this looks really cool. Let's see what's going on there. Or so we would just be hitting all these psychiatric hospitals and reading all these folklores about these creepy places. And it was really fun back in the day, and a lot of those places are not here anymore, but it was predominantly all these places in New Jersey. It went from water tunnels to hospitals to schools, and the crazy pig lady road. You don't stop for more than 2 minutes, or the crazy pig lady comes out and stabs you type thing. So it was a big influence for me back in the day. And you know, it jump started right after I got onto Instagram, and it's been crazy ever since. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got started.
So take me into your first exploration ever. Like, what was it about that? Like, first of all, what did you experience there? Like, what did you do? And what about that made you want to keep doing it?
So what it was, there was this house in Jersey, and it's not there anymore, but it was a big estate. And I'm talking about like eight houses. They weren't like the best. Like they had graffiti everywhere and stuff. But me and my friends would always go out in the woods, and we'd go to these houses, and for some reason, everyone else that knew about these houses would be there, and you'd just see random people there. And I just thought it was something to get to, like, something to do and get together, and just like look around, and it it was crazy. And so what we did, so what like how it stuck to me was that I started exploring more by myself when I got into the Instagram community. And I started researching my own places and just going by myself. And I don't know, I felt like this like I'm like in a different like world, like just like isolated from society, just just that feeling that at peace, and that's how it really stuck to me. And yeah, it was I just have that like connection, I guess.
Yeah. And I think people often talk about that, like in the community, it's a very unique thing. But when people ask me, like, why do you explore abandoned, like, why do you go in these places? And I tell them it's like walking into a portal. Like, you walk into one of these buildings and it's like the world around you disappears. And
Exactly,
I think
exactly.
that's something that only us as urban explorers can really understand, because there's no other setting that you can go into where that happens unless you're like, I'm also a musician. So, like, when I go on stage, the world outside disappears as well. So, it's a kind of a similar thing for me to experience. But yeah, it's hard for normal, quote unquote, normal people to understand that feeling that we get when we go into these places. And when did photography come into play for you? When did you pick up a camera and start documenting these explores?
So when I got into Instagram in early 2018, in the community, I was seeing all these people post these crazy pictures, and I'm like, wow, like I really want to do that. Because before that, I was just using my phone. Like I would not like just record videos or take a couple of pictures. Obviously they weren't the best. So when I started seeing all these like big heads like posting all these crazy pictures and stuff, I'm like, how do I do this? How do I get started? And that first thing was get a DSLR, get a digital camera. So that's what I did. But I did make the huge mistake by buying a really expensive camera for my first camera, because I thought, oh, if I bought like something like pretty decent, my picture would look just amazing as like everyone else's. But that definitely was not the case. uh I needed a learning curve. I'm like, I had to self teach myself how to use this camera. I didn't have anyone with me to really tell me like, oh yeah, you gotta focus on, aperture, shutter speed, ISO. So my first explore with my camera, my pictures were pretty bad, and it was all automatic and stuff. So, you know, but now, 4 years later down the road, I'm doing doing what I do, and learning the camera
Mm.
specs and everything like that. So it was a big learning curve, and I would always go on YouTube and type in how to use the camera. Aperture was really the one thing for me that was a little confusing to me at first, but then I started realizing what its purpose was and what it did and how it affected the light and the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big learning curve, but yes, the camera was definitely a big thing.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of like, photography and gear, things like that, can you talk about some of the gear that you use for your explorations? And this could be from the pair of shoes you wear, a backpack, a light, like anything you would recommend for new explorers that are just getting into the hobby, like, some things that they should maybe have with them.
What I would do is definitely always wear long pants and long sleeves. I've made the mistake of always exploring with shorts, and yeah, it gets hot out there, and you want to feel comfortable, but at the same time, you want to protect your skin and you want to protect your body. And these places, they're not maintained, so you could get cut by wood, metal, whatever it is. Like up in New Jersey, obviously in summertime and stuff like that, we have a lot of ticks, so you definitely don't want ticks like on you, because it's not fun just like taking off your clothes after a long day and there's like 5 ticks on you, so it's definitely I would definitely recommend proper attire to these places, and also staying low key. Like I don't really wear a camera backpack. I wear a normal backpack. My tripod fits in there, my camera fits in there, and no one really expects me to have like this camera in my backpack. So when I'm walking up to a place or something like that, it's no one really expects anything. So I think I like the low key image behind it, because I've explored in New York City a lot, and I these no one really will expect me to have a camera in my backpack. So it's that image of not knowing, having people not know what you have on you, and just doing your own thing. I think that's a really wise idea. I do carry a flashlight as well. It's a rechargeable LED. Flashlights are really important, because if you can't see in the dark, you're pretty much gonna get lost or something, or get hurt. iPhone, camera, cell phone lights can only go so far, so you definitely want proper lighting and stuff like that. So, and besides that, just always go with someone. Like I didn't really have that option to go with people all the time, so but definitely go with someone, because these places, they do get sketchy, and you would want to know if someone got hurt in there. You would want to report it or something like that. So
Mm.
I think it's good for a safety reason to definitely go with people that you trust.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's super important. And, I've talked to solo explorers on the show. I've talked to people that only go in groups. So, I mean, everyone's got their own preference, but, I always go with somebody else, just because, there's safety in numbers, things like that. And,
Yeah.
you never know what's going to happen in these places. Speaking of never knowing what happens and, reporting injuries and things, do you have any urban exploration injury stories?
Yeah, I have one crazy story there. I know you had St. John, your
Mm-hmm.
podcast. He's a good friend of mine. We went exploring in Buffalo one time, and so we went to Buffalo, and this was the first place of the day. We just got there. We're gonna hit this place up. It was a church, and he's mentioned it before, but I was the victim in this story. So there's this church that we went to, and behind it is a rectory, and it was being used as a halfway house. So and I didn't know this, it looked dead to me. So we go up to it, we don't find the way in. And one of my other friends, grabs the table from behind the rectory that the halfway house people use, and tries to climb up the window. And when I try to, and he didn't want to do it, so I'm like, all right, I'm the taller one, I'll try to climb up the window with the table. And I step on the table, and then somehow this owner knew that people try the same method, and there was like black tar all over the roof of the second floor thing. So when I put my leg up to it to try to get some, to try to lift myself up, I got like all this black tar all over my leg, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is not coming off either. So I'm like, all right, whatever, we find another way in. It's a basement window, so I jump down there, but as this is happening, one of the guys from the rectory comes out, and he's just like screaming at us saying, oh, what are you doing? Like, you can't be in there. I'm calling the cops, shit like that. And I'm just like, oh my god. So I knew something was going to happen soon, so I just went in there real quick. I shot the place, and eventually Shane comes in as well. He's got like a blunt in his mouth like the whole time. I don't know how the hell he does this all the time, but he's always got something in his mouth. And I rush to it, and then I hear police sirens, and I'm like, holy shit. So I pack up all my stuff. I jump out of this second floor window onto the ground, and somehow, like, when I landed, I didn't really land right, and my foot, I felt like one of my toes just go like up more than usual, and I just started limping back to the car, and eventually I got an X-ray for that, and that was nothing crazy, but that was a hairline fracture in one of my toes. And I'm telling you right now, like an hour later, after this happened, like 3 of my toes were like purple, and my whole like foot was just like blown up. So like, and I still chugged through it the whole like rest of the trip too. So
Damn.
we did a power plant after that and everything. It was really cool. So it's I chugged along through it, limping on one one leg the whole time. So I just thought it was funny. So
The shit we do for our hobbies, it's hilarious. And that's like one of my favorite parts of this show is hearing about these stories. We've heard about somebody got impaled by a spike fence. Like, this shit is crazy. Like, I can't believe we do this to ourselves. But the situations we're in they make for great stories, and that's a huge reason that I started this show. What about your scariest exploration? And this could be like paranormal if you're into that, or it could be just like a scary situation that you were in.
There's a couple. So I predominantly live close to the major city of Newark, New Jersey, and so there's this. I wonder if I still have one. Yeah, why not? So me and my friends, we go to this school, and it's getting dark out, but there's like an hour left of sunlight. We go into this school, and I've heard of homeless people living in here before, and I didn't really care too much at the time. So we're all in here shooting, and then we're leaving. We have to climb out this window, and as soon as we climb out this window, there's like this group of guys that like don't really look like they like live anywhere besides like squatting or something like that. And they're like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? I'm just like, we were just in there taking pictures. And he's like, well, I don't go in your house and take pictures. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is like an abandoned school, like, why? like, I don't know. But he was not happy. I could smell the liquor on his breath and everything. I just like waited for all my friends to like get out. And then, I started walking away. But I wouldn't say it's too scary, but like it's definitely one of those things that caught me off guard. And he this guy was not happy that we were going in there and taking pictures. I guess like some other explorers like rummage through like these homeless remains and just like fuck with them or whatever, but I wasn't there to do that. But I could see the protectiveness behind if you're squatting in a place, you don't want people going in there.
Yeah.
But another one actually I have, I went to New York City, and this was the last spot of my day, and it was a bank in Brooklyn. I could say it now because it's demolished. Never got to see it, but so there's this bank in Flatbush, Brooklyn, And Flatbush is a pretty bad area in Brooklyn. It's actually one of the worst areas I've ever seen. And we're walking up to the bank, don't really find a way in. Then we walk to the back, and there's a basement door open in the back. So me and my friend walk down there. It's wide open, which I'm like, huh, that's kind of weird. But I walk down there, and as soon as we get up to the steps to go up to the bank, all you hear is, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" And I'm just like, "What the like?" I didn't even know where the hell this guy was. He was in the basement doing some. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he was like selling stolen goods or something like that. He was doing something sketchy in there, and I was just like, "Wow." And then he comes up to us, and this guy is like livid. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" You know, I'll fucking and he, like this is one the first time actually someone's ever threatened my life before, but he was like, "I'll fucking kill you if you don't get out of here," shit like that. And me and my friend are looking at each other like, "Do we really call bluff here, or do we just leave?" And we just eventually just decided to leave because I tried talking to the guy. I was like, "Hey, listen, we're just here to take pictures. We're not trying to start any trouble or anything like that." And he was not having it. So he was probably doing something a little illegal in there, and he didn't want anyone in there knowing or, you know, whatever. So we left out of there. And yeah, he's when it comes to like exploring in your life, like you pick and choose your battles.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you don't want to risk your life, you know, especially if someone's there, and you don't want to risk your life like going to these places like when you could always go back another time or something like that. So, you
Yeah.
know.
No, definitely. And what about your favorite exploration overall? If you can pick one, like what would be your favorite explorer that you've done?
um hmm my favorite, I would say, I feel like this is everyone's answer nowadays, but there's this gilded mansion in PA, and you know, it did have guard dogs at one point. I think they did put back guard dogs or something like that, but it was guarded by guard dogs and caretaker, and I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And it was the most immaculate mansion I've ever seen, built in the early 1900s. You know, vacant for years. And the first time I went in there, I actually almost got caught in there too. Um, but just like the limestone and the design and the, you know, the architecture behind some of these places you don't see anymore. And you know, I'll never forget that place because that was like it was like walking into a time capsule. And you know, I am a big house person too, so like when I explore some houses, you know, I'm pretty surprised to find some cool things in there left behind. And yeah, but that was like one of my favorite explorers by far. Just the fact that the risk involved, and you know, almost getting caught there and getting away, and you know, just seeing like all these rooms left behind, and you know, the lobby and all this other stuff. It was really one of my most memorable explorers. I would say also that I went to North Carolina one time, and there was an amusement park up there. And you know, it was a treacherous hike. I would say, you know, 2 hours up a mountain. And you know, it was a nice, beautiful day. Roller coasters there, um, just anything like. And you know, it's been out on the internet a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, we went up to this amusement park, and it was just a beautiful day. And that was honestly one of my most memorable explores as well. Just being on top of the mountains on this roller coaster, looking at the mountains, and it was really a beautiful experience. So I really appreciated that one as well.
Yeah, and I definitely have heard of that place, and you know, it's one of those places where it's like, do you want to go hike for 2 hours? But yeah, if you got nice weather, like send it, let's go.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You got to do it for the explorer. It's so like you know, I've walked through the woods for an hour, you know, like crazy stuff like that. Like it's so that like the whole journey to get to these places is something super special that I feel like should be talked about more. And you know, maybe I'll add like another question on the show about that in the future. But can you talk about the journey, you know, that feeling of finally reaching the place that you're getting to and then getting to photograph it? Just tell me like how it feels to actually accomplish these exploration missions.
And honestly, it just feels amazing, especially when you like find the place on your own and you go and actually like discover it. And obviously, we're always not like really the first ones to find it unless you're really lucky.
Hmm.
But I've came across a couple of places where I've found on my own, and I went and scoped it out myself, and you know, I was totally blown away by you know just like seeing like a place like and achieving the fact that like you found it and you don't know what's inside, and then when you go inside it's like super cool. And I think that's like one of the most like best feelings. And just expecting the unknown and then just like find some really cool stuff in there, definitely is a really one of those feels.
Definitely. And what do you do when you're not exploring abandoned places? Like, what do you do in your normal life?
I feel like the question, yeah, it's honestly, I just have to work,
Yeah.
like I gotta afford the hobby somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
it's not a cheap hobby at all.
No.
Like it costs a lot of money to travel, and it's just all these expenses, it's definitely not one of the cheapest hobbies. That is for sure.
Yeah.
But I love to travel, I love to see the different cultures within the US. And when I went to the Midwest, it was really different out there compared to the East Coast. And it's just to experience all these different like states and major cities. I think it's one of my favorite things to do. So I think that's what keeps me going. And yeah.
And do you have any goal places, like bucket list items, things that you want to do that you haven't seen yet? Oh.
Sorry
No,
about
you're
that.
good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about
Sweet.
that.
You're good.
Gold bucket list places. I would say I feel like I really wanted to do Chernobyl for a while, like the Chernobyl exclusion or whatever, however you
Yeah.
say it. And I never got to do that, but that's one of the places I would love to do. And what else? I was gonna go to Italy, but I decided not to because of COVID. COVID really fucked things up.
Yeah.
But
No kidding.
yeah, yeah, no, COVID really messed things up. But I was gonna go to Italy actually last year, and it didn't work out. But hopefully, in the next couple years, things start opening back up. But definitely, like, just explore outside the U.S. is probably one of my most biggest bucket list. You know, goals
Hmm.
essentially. I know you've traveled all over the place. It's really cool. And just like seeing like anything else but the US, I think would be an amazing experience. And it definitely changes after being outside of the US. So
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And if you could live in one of the places you've explored for an entire week, which place would it be?
oh boy. I would say I would definitely choose the one that's the heat still works and the A's in the electric, no, but if it was one place, that's a good one actually. Hmm. I would say that it would definitely be one of my favorite churches I've hit in the past. There was a lot of churches in Philly that were up and going at the time, and Philly changed a lot over the past couple years. But you know one of my favorite churches out there was a beautiful church. It had murals all over the place, and I would think that would be all right. Sorry.
You're good.
That I was so one of the churches, one of my favorite churches in Philly. I would definitely like contemplate living in there, and because it's just so beautiful, and like the architecture and the paintings and the murals everywhere. It's really one of my favorite places. And I would definitely live in one of those because it's just one of those places that you really connect to. And I really connected to that place, and I don't think it's doable anymore. But it definitely was one of my favorites. It took me so many tries to get into as well, and then I finally, like, I think the fourth try I got into, so it was one of those like achievement things as well. But yeah, I definitely live in that place. For sure.
Nice. Yeah, there's something special about abandoned churches. It's like I always walk in and I'm like, why did they leave? Like, what? Like, why did you leave your church? Like, that's such a crazy concept to me when that, phenomenon happens. What do you hope for the future of urban exploring? And this could be like regarding social media or how people interact with these buildings. Like, what do you hope for the future of it?
What do I hope? I hope that these places still get respected. So far, what I'm seeing from like recently, these places are not being respected. As social media grows, so will, the people that post on them will, and, I respect the grind that people have with YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that. But at the same time, with these places, like, I mean, if you're not like careful about like what you say about them or putting names or not blurring out certain things, like these places do get like spotted, and it's a bum rush. And I just hope in the community one day like that, these places still remain intact and respected, because like I don't know about you, but on the East Coast, I mean, it's like a fucking race here. Like, like there's this mansion that was blowing up recently, and I went like about a week ago, and I saw like 20 tracks like going inside this place, and I'm like, that's cool, everyone gets to shoot it and stuff, but like this just makes it harder in the future for people like to try to get into. And it's I just hope for that the community like, for usually people do, but it doesn't get like, these places don't get in the wrong hands, and people respect them more. And but as far as social media goes, it's a love-hate relationship with me. I just stick to Instagram. I don't really have a TikTok or anything like that, but I respect the work that people do out there, and whatever makes them happy.
Absolutely.
The places are more important, and I respect them a lot. So
yeah, I totally agree with you. And my last question for you is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started exploring?
See, I was thinking about this question last night, because I think this is like one of your most interesting questions. I would say, sometimes who to trust, because trust is a big thing in this community, and if you don't have trust with people like they won't help you out, like. And trust is a big thing to come by, and but I wish I knew the skills I had now, like how to spot buildings as well. Like that's one thing, because some places, like, you really have to like consider a couple factors to see if it's like actually abandoned or not, because some of these places, like, they look abandoned but they're not, you know what I mean? That's for a fact. And I would say being more careful as well. Safety is always a one thing with me, and it's I would say that's a big important factor. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, that's I think those are my two main points there on that.
Awesome. And if people want to keep following your journey, where can they find you online? Drop your Instagram.
Just at Moldy Lungs, Moldy_lungs. So.
All right, guys, that was my episode with Moldy Lungs. I hope you enjoyed listening to his crazy stories, and, some of his advice that he has for you guys is super helpful and beneficial, especially if you're just getting into the hobby. Definitely take what he said to heart about, respecting these buildings, respecting these places. I think that that's something that needs to be more considered, especially by the newcomers. I feel like a lot of them kind of take advantage of the spots, and a lot of our spots get burned, and quite literally some of our spots actually get burned. I recently posted a video on my Instagram Reels, and it kind of blew up a little bit. It was the the water park that's out in California that everybody knows about. Some kids went there and like burned down one of the buildings. I don't know if they were using smoke bombs or like what they were doing, but one of the buildings got burned down, and I was really upset about it, and the community was upset about it, so I posted a video about it, and it sucks to see that kind of stuff happen. But yeah, if you guys want to follow Moldy Lungs, I put his links down in the description for you. Go check out his stuff, give him a follow, and if you enjoyed the show, do me a favor and leave a rating and feedback on Apple Podcasts, and I'll actually send you a signed photo print of an abandoned place that I've explored as a way of saying thank you for supporting the show. Helps me out a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that subscribe button. If you want to come on the show and be a guest on No Tracers, hit me up at no.tracers on Instagram, and we will schedule you to come on the podcast. Sorry, I've been a little slow with uploads recently. I've just been traveling a lot for my freelancing work and, getting ready for tour season here in the United States. And I'm going to be doing a lot of international stuff this year as well. So I'll try to be more consistent with the uploads, but thank you guys for your patience, and thank you for continuing to support the show. Until next time, stay strong, keep enduring, go out, go explore something, and remember, leave no trace.